Yeah, yeah. So here we are, everyone. Welcome back to the Black Carnivore live stream. It is me and Arien here to rock the night away with you. I never got to be
All
on
right.
the college radio station, so here I am giving it a shot.
We got DJ Ede on the ones and twos, or actually, no, the DJ wouldn't be talking most of the time, so you would be the personality, the on-air personality.
I don't know. I
So,
guess. I had some
all right, we
friends who
got.
did the college radio, but I never really got to do it. So this is all brand new to me. But I
mm,
listen to those shock jocks and think, oh, they sound so cool. That's what I want to sound like. So there we go. Welcome back to our live radio show that is in video. Yikes. And yeah, I'm making a lot of mistakes. Okay, let's get it together. So if you drop by and now you're getting bored with this craziness, let's get right into it. So, Arien, how was your week?
How has this week been? It's been troubled, I guess. Um,
Wow, that's not good.
like no, it hasn't been. Today's been much better. But so remember how, yeah, so I've been off the show for like 3 weeks now.
Uh
So,
huh.
um, yeah, so in that time, I concentrated on salt and definitely felt like improved. Like I had
Mm-hmm.
made improvements and I could feel the improvements. Like my body was feeling better. I was sleeping a little better. Um, Digestion was better. And then I took it too far, of course. And I guess,
Well, how will you know where the limits are if you don't take it too far?
right. So I had to find out what the limit was, and by golly, I reached it. Because, man, last
So
night,
what was
there
the
was
what was the other thing? I mean, what? How far did you take what?
well, so I don't know, because I don't have I didn't do this like an experiment, so I don't know how much salt I was taking. I was salting my food, and that's never been a problem. Like with food, I've never over salted to the point of like making myself sick. But I was, I think, yeah, one day I woke up sick, and I was like, oh God, okay, had indigestion, gonna be dehydrated. I need to get extra salt. And instead of just like taking a little pinch and putting it under my tongue, and maybe doing that like once, twice in a day, it was like a big pinch. And I did that like 3 times.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I felt the um and yeah. But yeah, so not good times, dynamic times as Seedless would say, in the library. So yeah, not good. Too much salt is it can be a thing. And I guess what I'm finding is it's best to, if you're gonna add a little bit of salt to something, like I know you said when you would drink coffee, you would put like a pinch of salt in.
Oh,
Um,
not even a
my coffee.
pinch. I mean, like you can count the granules. It doesn't take much at all.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
and like I did probably a little more than that today. Maybe I don't know what a pinch actually is. Is that like
A
quarter
pinch is
teaspoon, less
like
than that,
I would
like
say
an
a
eighth?
pinch. I would say a pinch is either a half of or a whole eighth of a teaspoon.
Okay.
So it's
So I
more than you
probably
think, but it's not nothing.
right. All right. So like this morning in my coffee, I probably used like an eighth, maybe. Eighth of a teaspoon, maybe less than that.
That is a
And
lot to add to your coffee.
oh, well, maybe my estimation's off. I don't know. It didn't. I couldn't taste it in the coffee. Like it
Really?
didn't taste salty.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, besides that, I haven't added any salt to anything besides just normal salting on food. I haven't put salt in any of my drinks. Although the only thing I've drank has been the water, and now this water now that has the mineral drops in it. But yeah, you can go too far. It's very easy to do if you're being obsessive like I was.
I'm
So
so
yeah,
sorry. I'm so sorry you had that experience. I know that really sucks.
yeah. But it's good to figure it out, and like you said, to know the limit. So now I know, like, all right, so
Hmm.
I actually I don't need to think about salt.
Hmm.
Um, just do what my body naturally feels, and really just I wonder if part of the issue was I was like constantly doing something instead of just resting.
Hmm.
So like today it's been the coffee in the morning, and then I ate around 12, and then I just ate like 15 minutes ago, and that's been it. I think I may have had a couple like gulps of water somewhere in there, but like that's it. Like you don't need a lot, and like my body has actually, my digestive system, I'll say, has rested, and that seems to be helpful.
Uh huh. Yeah. Well, I think that when you're taking salt, because like for a while, when I was first transitioning to carnivore, like it was a thing to like take tons and tons of salt, and so people would get these, those capsules that you could buy like at Amazon and fill it with salt and potassium. And they were doing that because they couldn't eat as much as salt as we were being told we should have, or I don't know. I don't even know where the numbers came from, but this is what people were
Hmm.
doing. And I tried it one time and it felt like a bomb had gone off inside my stomach. I mean, it was like
Hmm.
the salt was like eating a hole through my stomach. So I was like, never again. And I don't know how these other people are doing it, but it's like, your mouth tells you when you've had too much salt. And so, it's hard to go over if you're just, letting your taste guide you. But if you're doing things like taking pills, or swallowing it whole, that's when you can really kind of get into trouble because you can't really tell how much you've had until, it's too late. Now tonight at
Yep.
dinner, I was so I got my fancy smoked Redmond salt. It's really delicious, guys. You guys should definitely try it. And but I had the bag open and I was gonna sprinkle it on top of the ground beef, which I had in the pan because I was making ground beef crumbles. And I don't know what happened, but it slipped. Suddenly, there was a ton of salt in the pan. So
Oh,
I was like, yeah, I know. And I was like, well,
oh,
I'm sure it's okay. I tried to scoop out a little, but it was like, I guess it'll be fine. It was super, super salty. Super salty. I think this is probably the saltiest thing I've eaten. And I made I'm not. If anything, I will mix it in with something else that I don't salt. Otherwise, this is it's just going to be a loss. I can't eat it.
hmm.
So
Food trash.
yeah, yeah. I lately this week I've been wasting a lot of meat. I've had some beef shanks in the freezer that I have not wanted to get rid of or throw out. Um, but I just haven't cooked them, and it's been like months. And I finally cooked them, and I ate some, and I was just like, I don't want it. I just don't want it. So yeah, I don't know. I've wasted it essentially because I'm not gonna eat the rest of it.
How'd you cook it?
Pressure cooker. I mean, I think that's part of the problem. I'm just not, in the last year, I am not liking wet meat. So I should look into if how I could roast them or if that's a way to cook them. Um, Otherwise, I don't know. Not eating that, just eating something else.
I would imagine, yeah, you should be able to. If you did probably slow and low and maybe covered for the most of the duration so that they don't dry out. Because you have to cook them in some sort of way that's going to tenderize them. So yeah, my first thought would be Instapot, but if you're not liking that, maybe
Yeah,
slow roasting.
I don't know. Anna says, "Say hi to my daughter Michelle. We have you have two Kiwis in the room right now." All right, hey Michelle, hey
Hey,
Anna. That's really cool. I love that. I love that we've got this international crowd. And while we're shouting people out, hey Danielle, hey Marianne, hey Heather G, Mommy Does Keto, Monica, Jocelyn, Melanated Meat Fueled Mama, um, and Anna, and let's see, and Michelle. Awesome to see you all. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. We have a lot of people here, so click the like button, subscribe, and click the little bell icon so you get notification every time we go live. So Arien had a tough week with the electrolytes. I'm sorry about that. My week went pretty well. I tried some new things with food. I made chaffles for the first time. I didn't use cheese. I made it with beef shank the first time, and then I made it with ground beef, and then I made it with bacon. It's
wait, what
okay.
does that mean?
What?
You made it with ground beef and you made it with bacon?
Yeah, so I ground the shank. I ground that up and then added it to the egg and then poured the whole thing into the waffle maker. So that actually made something that was very dense and definitely felt like bread. The ground beef, not so much, and the bacon, not so much. But I don't know. I think I still just need to keep experimenting with it. But it's, I don't know. I think I'm just not really into bread. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it. It doesn't scratch an itch for me. Like it's giving me something that I didn't itch for. So I don't know.
So, okay, so the chaffle is, it's like wait a minute, you're doing cheese again?
No, I didn't use cheese. That's what I'm saying. It's a little different because I didn't add cheese.
Okay.
There are recipes for non-dairy chaffles.
Oh, all right. I thought that's what the CH meant, that it was the cheese waffle. Okay, so, but all right, so you did it some other way,
Well, it
and
is. So some people call them poffles or wombles, I've heard of. So the poffle is, some people use pork rind panko or pork rind powder, and that makes a poffle. And then some
mm,
people use just the egg and some kind of meat, and that is the womble. I don't know.
okay,
Yeah.
and then so it tasted like bread a little bit. It had, well, the using the shank gave it more of the texture of bread, but
It
then
gave it more of the solidity of bread. It definitely gave me the texture and the concept of bread. And I melted butter on it, which, it served the function of bread.
mhm.
But I was kind of like, I didn't really miss bread. So I don't know why I'm doing this.
That's my next question. Yes,
Yeah.
why?
Well,
Like,
just mixing it up, trying some other stuff.
okay.
So if I had made a burger, I think I will still try to do it with a burger and see if I enjoy the bread aspect of it. But I don't think it's actually not the thing that I miss. If anything, I miss ketchup or even mayonnaise. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I could try making baconaise. That's something I've been thinking about. And I did buy a new immersion blender, so I can do it, I think. Um, yeah, so I'm going to try that.
Yeah. So I've been finding lately that actually all I want is just really simple things.
Hmm.
Like, um, now, well, we're calling this Carnivore Storytime. Like, we can talk about, I guess you already talked about the meeting up with me, I assume, on one of the other
Hmm.
lives.
Yeah,
So
but we
yeah,
could talk about it together.
All
because we
right.
didn't
So
have that opportunity.
exactly. So there's that, and then there was another. There was a I guess we'll call it DMV meetup, but I'm from Baltimore. We are not the DMV. Um,
I
it,
guess this is important,
it's
an important
it's a
distinction.
thing. It's a thing. It's like calling the Mexican a Puerto Rican. Like you don't do that, or the opposite. But because of that meetup, and just yeah, being around new carnivores that I haven't been around as much, and I mean new to me, not just that they are new to carnivore. I'm hearing a lot more about the substitutes and the well, you can do a meat-based version of this thing or a carnivore version of this, and I'm like, "Mm, why? I don't.
Hmm.
I'm finding myself with like a I don't know exactly how to describe it, but like a real apathetic attitude towards a lot of that stuff because I just find like it's a whole, you know what it is? It's a lot of work to do a thing that doesn't taste like the thing that you're trying to make it like replace.
Hmm.
And I would just rather eat meat that tastes and
Hmm.
feels like meat. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, like I tried the egg yolk pancakes. I tried the egg yolk and bacon grease ice cream. It was way too much fat, made me sick.
Wait, egg yolk and bacon grease. Good God,
Uh,
that sounds awful. You made ice cream out of this? Uh,
it's basically
oh, that seems so gross. Wow.
yeah, yeah. I feel like this was around the time when the sucralose laden coffee flavor incident happened.
You mean, was
I think
it the salt crack or salt? No, what was that?
no, no. It was sucralose in coffee syrup. So it was like advertised as sugar free, and I'm like, oh, okay, this it's hazelnut. I love hazelnut. Let me try that. And then
Oh,
it was full of sucralose, and it like gave me a headache and then like a stomach ache sometime
right,
later.
right.
Um, yeah, I put that in the ice cream, and like it tasted okay, but probably that's because it tasted sweet.
Yeah, yeah. Let's
Um,
see. Oh, go ahead.
so yeah, I find that I try the substitutes or like the carnivore recipes, and I think they're gonna. I always wonder, like, maybe this will work. Maybe this will, I don't know, trip my trigger and I'll have a new thing that I feel like doing. And inevitably, every time I end up falling back to something simple. Like today, what did
Mm-hmm.
I eat? It's been three lamb chops so far. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know. I guess I feel like I do want a little variety, and I think my body wants a little variety too. So
Hmm.
I, I think was much more solidly beef before, and now I want lamb, I want pork, and I want fish. Weirdly enough,
Mm,
so
mm,
yeah. So I'm trying to branch out and do those things. Um, let's see. And Anna says I found some French black pudding. Apparently, it does not have the grain that English black pudding has. I'm a bit nervous about how to cook it. I have no idea what black pudding is. I'm gonna guess it's some kind of blood thing. It's like a meat blood thing.
yep.
So yeah. Well, let us know what you
Uh,
figure out, Anna. I'm very
right.
curious. Yeah.
Have fun with that.
Well, no, I
Although
mean, I'm open to
I
it.
yeah, I would try it. I'm not buying any. Actually, no. If it was a small enough portion, if I could buy like $5 worth of black pudding, I probably would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or if somebody else had some, I'd definitely try it.
Yeah. And I see Heather G is going to try my salmon croquette recipe tonight today, so that's awesome. Let me know how that
Nice.
goes. And Mommy Does Keto says Poffles uses pork rinds. Yeah, so that's right. And Baconaise is easy and very tasty. Now, Mommy Does Keto, please explain to me how Baconaise is easy. Because every time I have made it, like, it's so hard for me to make mayonnaise. It breaks all the time. I have not had good luck. And then when I've made Baconaise, like, I use my portion and it's good, and then I put it in the refrigerator and then it hardens. So it's, like, no longer functional as mayo. So I'm unclear how people are using it in a way that makes sense. Like, it doesn't feel like I want to make a much smaller amount because it just doesn't seem to work for me the way, regular mayo does. So I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, I wish I could do it in a, like, that I could just make enough to use that one time, but it's a lot of work for that little amount, and also, like, you have to use egg in it, and I don't know, unless you're using, like, quail eggs or something, they're not going to be small enough. Well, like, one egg has to be used to make a bigger amount, and you can't like just use half an egg.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really curious about that. So, but other people swear like it's great and it's exactly like mayo. So I'm thinking I must be doing something wrong. So Marianne, Mommy Does Keto, if you have more info, please let us know. Let's see, Marianne says, I'm not a fan of substitutes. I feel that is exactly what I don't need. I need basic eating. It tastes good. It feels right. Exactly.
Yes.
And it looks like Heather G is in Virginia. So is not from the DMV, but wants to, I don't know, wants to join in.
It depends what part of Virginia she's in. As far as what Maryland city is the cutoff, I'd say between Baltimore and DC, if you're in like Howard County, you're right on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Like Bowie and Laurel, kind of our Baltimore suburbs, kind of our DC suburbs. You find people from both places live there, and that's the line. If you're past Howard County, you are definitely DMV.
Well, I think probably what she wants to know is next time does she get to come?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Join the Facebook group and we'll find you.
Yeah, or send Arien a DM in Instagram. So Jocelyn says yuck, I think, to the Baconaise. So I know it seems yucky, but it's actually not. And it is the best way to make mayonnaise if you're not going to use vegetable oil. So mayo is one of these weird things that, like, you really need a liquid oil. And for some reason, when you use olive oil, the taste of the olives becomes really bitter and acrid. And so unless you get extra, extra, extra light olive oil, which is usually cut with soybean oil, and that's how you get so light, it's hard to use olive oil to make mayo. And then some people use avocado oil, which is very, very expensive, but that's an option. And also nowadays, I think with coconut oil, they make it so that there is a liquid only form of coconut oil, and so people are using that to make mayo. So that's the problem with mayonnaise.
Yeah, it's really tough. Exactly like you said. Like, I've gotten it to come out like perfect when I made it, and it was creamy, had that yellowish color. It was perfect. Then, as soon as it goes in the fridge, it's hard, and you never get it to that consistency again.
Yeah. Or there was that time last fall when I was making a sauce and it just kept making this, like, mayo type texture, and it kept going, and I kept reusing the sauce until it was all gone, and then I could never recreate that. I don't know how it happened. Yeah,
you were doing that to go with meatballs, weren't you?
Yeah, it was perfect. Yeah. So let's see. Anna says, I think it may cost $5, but my aim is to eat head to toe, so blood sausage is part of that. Yeah, there you go. Love it. Love your commitment. Okay. Oh, Jocelyn says yuck to the ice cream with bacon grease and egg yolks. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I shouldn't be laughing. I once
Why not?
made.
I laughed.
I don't know. Maybe somebody would like it. I don't know. Um, when I was still on in MeatRx, they had these cooking classes, and they advertised that they had a class on Eskimo ice cream, and so in my head, I assumed that it was some kind of fish that would be pureed or made into some kind of mousse and frozen. So I both thought it was racist, but I was also curious how they were making this thing. And so I went to the class. And then when they explained, that it was just ice cream made with, cream, and I was just like, why you're calling it Eskimo ice cream? I mean, people eat ice cream, and,
Yeah.
And that just, the name is just so offensive. I don't know. I was just like, oh, why? Why are you doing this? But I guess we know why. So, but when I said in the class, when you called this, Eskimo ice cream, here's what I was imagining. And then another guy in the class spoke up, and he's like, oh, I'm a chef, and we make something like that, and that's actually really good, and here's what you could do and how you would make it. And I was like, yeah, see, that it's, so much better. But you got to come up with a better name than Eskimo ice cream. He called it fish mousse. Or salmon mousse, I think is.
Salmon mousse sounds better. Fish mousse sounds gross.
Like something you'd find only in Alaska.
Right. Yeah. Salmon mousse sounds more sophisticated.
Yeah. Yeah. Melanated Meat Fueled Mama asks if there's a brand called Eskimo ice cream. I don't know, but there shouldn't be. Although we still got Aunt Jemima out there, so I don't know.
The ones that come in Eskimo pies are a thing, and then I thought the joints that came in the gray silver foil.
I thought that was a Klondike bar.
Is it? Yeah, it's probably right. I've seen Eskimo on something.
Well, anyway, I have since been thinking, how do I make this fish mousse? Because that would actually be pretty good with like a little vinegar in it and a little lemon juice. You're making a face. Right. Wow.
Yeah, I'm out. The taste of vinegar is so gross to me.
Okay. So a little lemon juice, salt and pepper.
Sorry.
Wow, I guess everybody knew about Eskimo bars or Eskimo pies. Oh, and Melanated Meat Fueled Mama says Aunt Jemima's gone and so is Uncle Ben. Really? It's been years since I've even walked down that aisle, so I don't know. Is there no more Uncle Ben's rice? The orange box is gone?
It's probably just that they took the faces off them. I bet the name is still the same.
Wow. Well, awesome. Good. Good.
Yeah.
So, well, in any event, I do I think it's good to experiment and have some different flavors and, and be able to come up with stuff that is still, relatively easy to cook, but a little bit special. I mean, I think that's why I was so attracted to the hot dog, hamburger, bacon wrap thing, is it's kind of like fancy party food, and you want to have I don't know, I think it's important to have some special meals.
Yeah. I know for a while we talked about, I was doing that with scallops. I would decide on a random day I want to eat scallops, and that would go with my red meat, and that would make that meal fancy. The hamburger around hot dogs, that was good. It was also, it felt fancy in a way of like eating at the beach and you're getting a special hot dog. This
Yeah,
isn't a regular
exactly.
hot dog. Um, but it was still quick. It was still really, I mean, like fancy hot dog, like getting going being in Detroit and getting a coney or something. Like it was still really good, actually really basic food, but for some reason, just this combination works really well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important to find some of those things. I mean, food doesn't have to be entirely utilitarian, but it should be a pleasure. So you want to eat things that you like, but have some special things that you don't get to have all that often. Now I see that Anna asks, how long did we have carb cravings after stopping eating them? And her daughter Michelle is struggling. I struggled for a long time.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't know when they completely stop. I don't I don't feel like they do completely. Like you're still gonna have them sometimes.
mhm. Well, I think that is also an indication that you're hungry. So,
Hmm.
our body has been signaling us with cravings for sugary stuff when we're hungry or when, we have like blood sugar dips for a long time. So, it's kind of ingrained that's going to happen. So, in the early days, often knew when I started, really having a craving for something sweet that it was just lunchtime.
Yeah. I would say it's either that or you're in some sort of emotional distress and you need to deal with that. I yeah, I can't say like I guess there there's this expectation that like you'll reach this pie in the sky moment and there's no cravings anymore. I don't feel that. I've never experienced that. Even like y'all know, like eat I eat my mom's dinner on Sundays. That will usually include carbs. But yeah, I don't feel like even when I was like more strict, it didn't like go away completely to the point where like I could still be triggered into wanting carbs. Especially seeing somebody eat something sweet on TV would trigger it, or people talking about sweets.
Yeah. Actually, that was probably the most important thing that I did in the beginning. Was I in YouTube at the time well, now I pay so extra so I don't have to see commercials, but at the time I didn't. But there was a way to go into YouTube and refine it so that you tell it what commercials you want to see. And so
Mm,
I made it commercials of things that I knew I wasn't gonna want to buy. Like automotive schools, like watches, and I don't know, foot fungus powder, like things that were just not going to entice me. And so
right.
I no longer got food, and that was super super helpful. And I had stopped watching regular TV, so I wasn't getting normal commercials. So I really think it's important to figure out your TV stuff and what you're consuming with your eyes, because those ads will trigger you, and that's what they're designed to do. This is what they're meant to
Yeah.
do, and they're very good at it.
Yep. And we as humans are meant to do the things that we see other humans doing. It's part of our evolutionary strategy, and so it's very not helpful. It's funny as you were saying that you hadn't actually gotten to it yet, and my first thought was, oh, and you know what? I don't watch TV, so I
Hmm.
see very few commercials except what I see on like maybe YouTube or Twitch, and I'm very quick to skip those. Also, I turned off the personalized ads on YouTube, so what I actually get now are other people selling some sort of like fake keto product most of the time or some weight loss crap, and it's very easy to ignore those. But
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's. that's a huge part of it is checking who you're around and checking what you consume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, it is weird though. I feel in a way like kind of disconnected from the world because I don't watch commercials, so I don't know
Hugely.
what things everyone wants or buys anymore because I'm not, I'm not part of that same circle. But I think enough people have gotten off, you know, they've gotten off like, I don't know, the collective media. So now there's just very targeted pockets of people who are getting ads. And, there's enough people like me that are not in the, you know, junk food, Dorito soda world. I don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, mm-hmm.
that was it.
Yeah. So I would say, that for cravings, it's really important to clean up what you see, and then what you're exposed to. Because if you don't have these things in your environment, you're not really going to crave that much. But I found that like the physical craving, that was very acute in the first month to 6 weeks. And that I think was me getting fat adapted. That was me essentially having a fuel crisis. I was no longer consuming sugar, and I wasn't yet good at burning fat. So I, was constantly short of energy. And so that's what that was. And then also I had, emotional reasons to want sugar. And so I was, I just kept being triggered like that, or having difficult things at work. And of course, my first thing is to get some sugar. But once I got through that, then there wasn't, it wasn't like a physical, like, draw to have the sugar. It was more like a mental desire. And so that part, I think, doesn't really go away. It just doesn't, it's not very strong. So you can hear it and keep going and not think about it, or you can, hear it and like give into it and like, let it win the battle. But, it's not like such a physical desire.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. And I see Heather G says, I don't really miss bread, but I still crave my gummy bears. I had an ex who was on keto, and he also really liked, for some reason, really liked the texture of gummy bears and marshmallows. So, I know. I was like a grown man eating marshmallows. Like, I don't understand this. And he had them, like he would keep them in the house, and I was just like, I mean, fancy ones, but still, they're marshmallows. So, but anyway,
There's fancy marshmallows.
oh gosh, they are very fancy marshmallows. I know, but I'm like, why? Like, what? Was there a market? But I guess there was. There are people who like marshmallows that much. But anyway, he bought some gelatin and like those little trays to molds, and he worked on making gummy bears, and and made them not sweet. And well, I guess he tried different batches, some with like monk fruit and some unsweetened. And he was not super happy with them. I think he found that the texture, he couldn't quite get the texture right, but that was what he was looking for. But I don't know. There are definitely other people who've expressed this feeling about the gummy bears. So you might be able to get the gummy bear thing. And gelatin is carnivore, so yeah.
I,
You think that's a dangerous road?
yeah, that and um, I guess I just feel like, well, for me, I'm not doing all that. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, and it wouldn't, well, it wouldn't be texture for me. It would be the taste. So if it doesn't have the sweetness and the fruit flavor and stuff, I don't want it. Like that's
Mm.
not a gummy bear. That's something pretending to be a gummy bear. Yeah. So just having the texture of the gummy bear is not going to. it wouldn't satisfy me, so I wouldn't go through all the effort to make that just for to know that it's not going to taste the same.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I guess, you should give it a try and let us know, Heather, how that, if it works for you.
Yeah,
But I don't know. She also said she misses spicy ramen. Can't help you with that, though.
nope.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think you can find a meat substitute for ramen.
Okay, so emotional cravings are my thing. Yeah, a lot of us really struggle with that.
Hmm.
Let's see. Mandel says salvation is instant. Deliverance is a choice. Lots of stuff I want to do. I know it's bad for me. That takes willpower, but it takes feeding myself right now to feed myself.
Oh,
Feeding
right,
myself
not to
right.
feed myself wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Um,
and that
mhm.
actually may be helpful for the sugar cravings. I know it is for me when I find myself craving, and I'm like, it's usually like I'm driving around, so I'm going past a bunch of places that have all the junk food. There's no real food in these spots. It's just gas stations after gas stations full of junk food.
Yeah.
Um, the last time I had that urge, I came home, ate something salty, and felt pretty much okay. It did not completely satisfy the craving, though. It wasn't like, oh, I ate and I'm just completely content. I still kind of wanted chips, but it was much easier to look past that desire.
Isn't that weird? Like sometimes I would have these like unbelievable cravings, and so I would finally like give in and go get like whatever that thing was, and I have that first bite, and it's like, this is not doing it. Like it doesn't. I don't get the feeling that I imagined I was gonna get. And then I feel sick and, guilty, but also sick and gross, and then, kicked out of ketosis or whatever is going to happen. And it's just like, why is that? Like, all this is
Yeah.
built up in my mind, and the actual thing is not that great.
Yep. I feel like most of the times that I have tried to cheat, that has been the conclusion. This was a waste of my time and my money. I'm mad at myself for even entertaining the idea. Now I'm just pissed off and I've wasted food and money.
Yeah. Yeah. And time. You're right. Like, it takes up a lot of time, your thought time, your mental time, the time to go get the stuff, whatever it is. Yeah. And then the
Hmm.
time that you feel sick afterwards, it is a lot of time.
Yep.
Yeah. And Melanated Meat Fueled Mama says, I don't watch TV much either. Sometimes with my hubby, visual consumption should be minded as well as food consumption. Yeah, absolutely. And then what you listen to. I mean, that's the thing. It's just ads are, they're effective. They work. So you really got to cultivate or send the message out to Google and, the algorithm gods that, you want to see things that won't be tempting to you. So now my commercials, they're very much more targeted, and they follow the things that I click on Instagram. So they're never food things. Never.
Mm. And I've turned off all the personalized ads altogether. So
Mm-hmm.
I get really generic ads that are usually based on the thing that I'm watching.
Uh-huh. Okay. Um, yeah, those personalized ads, though, they work. Because I'll see something, and I'll be like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I click on it. And then I'll see many more things that are similar to it. Also,
Yep.
I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, should I buy this? And I have bought things off Instagram, which is terrible. So now, like, they're really good at sending me exactly what they think I want to see. And they're not wrong.
See,
They're
I don't like
right.
those.
I
I don't
know.
like I don't like the I'm talking to somebody in Messenger and then I get an ad of a thing that I get
Yeah.
an ad for a thing that we talked about. I can't stand that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like it either, but they're not wrong. They're right. Let's see. Anna says, yeah, Michelle has a husband and 5 kids who don't want to be keto. It's hard, but my thoughts are she needs to make sure she's eating enough. Yeah. As I said, I think that that I Wow, that's weird. I was looking at two different messages. That was confusing. But yeah, I think that she is probably hungry. So, she just needs to eat a meal and make sure, just like when you're switching and transitioning into this, you got to eat regularly. And I don't think that people, a lot of times people want to jump right in and start doing one meal a day and all this different fasting and stuff like that. But, if you're not yet like really good at burning fat and really acclimated to eating this way, it's just going to be hard and you're just going to have more cravings. So, do yourself a favor, just transition, get used to this, and then you can start adding fasting later, if you want to, but you don't have to, I don't know why people feel like you have to do one meal a day. You don't.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. It's I don't. Yeah, I wonder too, because it's like everyone's carnivore goal. Like they want
Mm-hmm.
to start off, and I guess it's because the influencers, a good number of them are one meal a day, and they think like, oh, well, that's it. So I'm going to intermittent fast, and here's a great way to do it. I'll just eat once. I'll have like
Mm-hmm.
a hour, hour and a half, 2 hour window of eating, and then I won't eat for the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And they like aspire to that.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
I
mean,
also
I
think
guess
too,
it's simple and easy.
yeah. So I think that's attractive. Like just the having one meal, I don't even have to worry about what to eat at,
Mm-hmm.
say, work because I'll only eat when I get home. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that part makes sense to me. But I also think that there's a lot of it that is folks like trying to, if you're already prone to extreme measures, OMAD's going to be really attractive. And
Mm-hmm.
those types of people, a lot of times, are looking to get into carnivore and they want the results now. So they're like, well, what do I need to do? Okay, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I know that's the easy stuff. That's cool. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be thin now. And that's usually what it is. It's,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, some percentage of the time, it's somebody trying to heal an autoimmune disease where they really want the benefits of fasting. But I feel like most of the time it's somebody who wants to lose a lot of weight. They have aesthetic goals that they want to get to
Mm-hmm.
now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let's see. Melanated Meatfield Mama says, I find myself thinking about food all day if I don't do OMAD. I came from a fasting focused lifestyle, so this is normal for me. So I guess there are people who are, it really helps to just have these very defined times when you eat and then
Hmm.
not eat in the other times. So for some people, like, that really does work, doing that one meal a day. And there is one woman on Instagram, I think she has said that she has lipidemia, which is where you have unusual fat deposits, more of them
Oh,
in like the lower body, and then they also get swollen, and it seems like quite damaging and quite painful disease. So she does regular fasts. So the fasting is one way to keep the inflammation down, and it reduces a lot of the pain and the discomfort in her legs, as well as doing carnivore. And so I think she does a lot of 3-day fasts. But she has, it's that level is necessary to get the relief from the disease. So I think
hmm.
that, like you were saying, like there, for some people and in some cases, there really is a need to do that. But for other people, it's just not working. So, if OMAD works for you, then I think that's really good. But you can also just decide, how many meals you're going to eat or how much food you're going to eat and split it up into the number of times that you want to eat. And then not think about food outside of that. And that can be really helpful.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, if it works, it works. I find that for a very good number of people trying to do it, it doesn't work though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So we aim to follow the path of least resistance, and if you get results, that is the path that you should stick to.
Right.
Yeah. So we let's see. I wanted to announce actually that next week I'm really excited. On Tuesday, I'm going to premiere an interview that I did with Sally Norton, who is the oxalates lady. Yes, yes. So I encourage all of you who are watching to make sure that you mark that down on your calendars, and you make sure that you catch the conversation. It was really wild. I mean, she and I spoke for, it was like more than an hour and a half, and I still don't feel like we even scratched the surface of the conversation. Like, I had so many more questions. So I could easily do a part 2 and wouldn't even be discussing the stuff that was in part 1. So so hopefully we will do a part 2. But it was really fascinating, and I realized I just didn't think that the oxalate thing was relevant to me, because I had already been in doing carnivore for like a year by the time I had heard about it. And I don't know, I just kind of thought, well, I'm through it. I've been carnivore a year, so this whole concept of the dumping and not doing straight carnivore, diving straight into it, it was just kind of like, that's not me. But after talking to her, it's like, oh my God, that totally is me, and I'm still dealing with it. And we probably all are. Yeah, and we probably all are. So one of the things that I thought was really interesting, you hear people complain that they go carnivore and everything feels great, but then they have the slightest little thing and then they have this huge reaction to it. And then, they complain that carnivore makes them more sensitive. But what she was saying is that, when you stop taking in the oxalates, your body starts trying to clear it out. And you can actually have a lot of oxalates circulating inside your body as your body's clearing them out. But you eat a little bit, and that takes you from, your body might keep you here, like with the threshold of the amount of oxalates circulating, just under what's going to make you feel sick. And then you eat a little something that's just a little tiny thing, but it's enough to take you over. And then you start feeling awful. So you think, oh my God, I haven't had any oxalates. And now it's like a huge problem. But in fact, you've got tons, and it's just all inside, and you just didn't know it. So I was like, oh, this explains so much. It just explains so much.
Just that concept explains some things. And
yeah,
it's funny, it leads me to the conclusion, or to the thought, that like we spend a lot of time dealing with criticism from the outside. And I've even had folks tell me sometimes, like, oh, your body's sensitive. And I go like, well, I don't know that it's sensitive. Like, if I complain, like if I say like, oh, I'm not feeling too great that day, it's because like I'm used to greatness. So anything less than that feels like crap. And that we look at this diet as like a cure-all. I'm going to be better, and not just better, but like I'm going to reach some level of perfection. And any adverse reaction, anything that happens, we blame it on the diet. But like, we don't understand the human body enough to really to be able to say those sorts of things. Like, oh, I'm sure that I'm free of oxalates. You don't know that. I haven't been eating oxalates for a year. Like, prior to this conversation, like I was today years old when I realized that I could still be affected by oxalates, because I'm the same as you. I feel like I don't eat hardly any oxalates. So
well, I used to say that too, and then she started running through all of these other random things that I didn't even think of. Vitamin C. That is a major problem. And when I was a kid, that was the whole, Linus Pauling thing, or whatever his name was, the guy who was all about taking all this vitamin C to heal you. So whenever I got sick, like, they'd give me 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. Oxalates. Just oxalates. Or sorrel. it just didn't occur to me. Every time I go down to the Jamaican spot and get some ginger beer, which also has tons of oxalates, or sorrel, it's like, ugh, I'm just drinking like a big chug of it. Yeah, or, like those green powdered, smoothie drink things or powders that you add to smoothies and stuff like that. Like, I would have these really strong reactions, and what I thought was like an allergy, she's like, no, it's oxalate poisoning. That's what happened. And I was like,
wait, from
well,
what was doing that to you?
I had bought, there was, at the time, it was really popular to get this powdered superfood jug, and it basically had powdered, spinach and kale and all the greens and all the superfoods. And you would take like a scoop of that and add it to water and make a smoothie with it, and adding, a banana or some fruit or whatever. So it was like, kind of like a V8, get all your vegetables all at once in this, smoothie thing. So it was super expensive, but it was supposed to be top of the line, the best and the best. This is, this is it. Like, you take this and it's like you're, swimming in a vitamin pill. And then I got, it made me so sick. I had a rash from head to toe for weeks on end. And she was like, yeah, that's oxalate poisoning. And I was like, oh my God, I poisoned myself and paid $60 for the pleasure of it. And couldn't even return the jug or the tub that I bought. So,
no.
Yeah. So in any event, I really encourage all of you to watch the interview and just continue to do your research on it. She and I actually spoke a long time about endometriosis. So if anybody watching, or if you know somebody who's struggling with endometriosis, I actually really encourage you to have them share the link and encourage them to watch it, because it was pretty surprising for me. There's no real explanation for, where endometriosis comes from, but she, really has some interesting theories about it. And so that's what we talk about. And, and so it was very female focused, although, for the men watching, oxalates, I mean, it's a problem for everybody, and, it manifests itself in different ways. And, and basically she was sort of explaining to me in the beginning, and you'll get more of that in the video, but that, your body is going to collect wherever you're weak in your body. So different people have weaknesses in different places. And, for me, like, skin is one of those things. So that's where I'm going to notice those problems. But for other people, it might be in the brain, for other people in the joints. So wherever you have some weakness or inflammation, that's where it's going to be. So, yeah. So anyway, and Janae says... ugh, I didn't think oxalates were an issue anymore. Is there a way to get it out? Not eating them. Your body is very good at getting rid of it. It just, so it's already doing it. It's just, how long it takes. Yeah. And is secondary oxalates from animals? I'm not sure I know what secondary oxalates means. Oxalates are, I think, only in plant foods.
Yeah, I would assume she's talking about the way that our body can store oxalates all around the body, like if the animals that we eat might have stored oxalates as well that we're then consuming when we eat the animals.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think we don't get oxalates from animals from them eating them. They really just come from the plants. Yeah. Vitamin C is an oxalate. That's what she told me, which I did not know. It is an oxalate. So every time you have that emergency, those little packets that are flavored vitamin C, just oxalates. And then Saran. Yeah, I know. And then Saran, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. That's my middle name, though. Let's see, says, wow, just walking into the chat, where is the link for the talk about endometriosis? So this is going to be next Tuesday. I premiere with a live chat every Tuesday an interview. So it's going to be next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And so the link is not up yet, but I hope to get that up in the next day or two, and you'll see it. Like if you follow my channel and click the little bell icon, you should get a notification every time I put up a video or put up a premiere video. Okay. So, Janae, I guess, is asking about animals that eat plants. Do they pass on the oxalates? So, no, that's not the way we get them.
I would imagine
Saran, I said her name right. That's good.
I would imagine that those animals, if they're eating anything close to their diet, like they're supposed to be eating plants, then their bodies have a way to handle oxalates that probably is much more efficient than our body, because we are not built to eat plants. We can do a little bit and not die, but that doesn't mean that we can efficiently process plants. We can't.
Yeah. Saran, we didn't talk specifically about fibroids for the most part, but that too, she believes, has to do with oxalates.
Mm.
And Janae was saying, so oxalates are easily removed. And in fact, what Sally has people do sometimes is eat some food with oxalates, because if your body is really trying to dump them very quickly, it can cause a lot of damage and discomfort as you're dumping them. And so to stop it, you eat some oxalates, and so your body will stop trying to clear it, and it'll give you a chance to kind of heal a little bit from what's clearing. Because sometimes they come out of the skin, they come out of your eyes, they come they come out, kidney stones, they come out in weird places, and so sometimes that can be really painful for people. And so you stop it for a while by having like a small amount of chocolate, which is high in oxalates, or tea, which is high in oxalates. And then, once you get like your feet back under you, you get started again by cutting it out. Yeah. Thank you, Mary Ann, for the super sticker. Thank you so much. Yeah. So Janae,
So
the
now I'm
vitamin
wondering
C
how
has
much
a
in
stalker.
coffee.
Coffee is actually low in oxalates.
Yes.
I know. Mary Ann, it is confusing about vitamin C and what you're supposed to be concerned with. I mean, the reality is there's like anything. I mean, there are things that are important, but we only need so much, and our body is easily able to it's very good at clearing and cleaning and repairing and all of that. That's what it does. So it's not that you shouldn't ever have, vitamin C. It's just when you have more than you need to have. So it's not that we're never supposed to, or we're never, we can't ever come in contact with oxalates. It's just that we have so many that our body can't keep up. But in normal circumstances, if, I guess in our, early Homo sapien stage, when we're like hunting a lot, and using some spices and whatever, or herbs, or having some plant product, it's, it was, sporadic and not very much. And so your body's able to keep up with that. When you're eating cereal for breakfast and tea and iced tea and apparently she was saying in England, there's actually a lot of research done on oxalates there, because there are a lot of traditional English foods that are very high in oxalates, so they have more of an incidence of people being poisoned by it. So, so tea is a big problem, and they drink a ton of tea. And then I guess kidney beans is another one that they eat a lot of, and rhubarb. So, which is also high in it. So if you have couple of, a bunch of cups of tea in a day, 2 slices of rhubarb pie, and, kidney something at lunch, and you're actually like really having had a lot of oxalates in a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every single thing you consumed was high in oxalates.
Yeah. So anyway, this is all really interesting, but there is so much more to learn, and you're going to learn it from the woman herself next week. So definitely look out for that. And also, I'm really excited that Audra is going to co-host with me next Thursday. So it's Arian's week off next week, so we will have him back the following week. But Audra and I will continue the conversation, and I encourage you all to be here on Thursday next week, as we probably are going to continue to talk about oxalates and what we learned on Tuesday. And I'd love to hear from other people what your experience has been. And so I think we need to wrap it up. We're trying to keep this one early and light. So I have really enjoyed the conversation today. How about you, Arien?
Yeah, it's been good. Good to be back.
Yeah, yeah. I always miss you, it's always, and it really was awesome. We didn't tell everybody this, but it really was awesome seeing each other and having like a meal together face to face. Although, like I said, it didn't feel like momentous because it just felt like every week. You were the same, I was the same, you looked the same, we talked about the same stuff, like nothing was really different.
It was like doing one of these lives along with, no, exactly like it. Like we complained about New York and I had complaints too. Like we can talk about that stuff now that I've experienced it more. I've been to New York a couple times, but this was the first time like really riding the subway everywhere. The subway and the buses, and that like besides that, maybe it was really like doing one of these lives but in person.
Yeah,
like regular conversation, we're eating food. That would be the difference too. We actually ate as well.
Yeah, well, afterwards we often eat together. So after we get off with you guys, sometimes we stay on and we continue the conversation. You might really, one day you'll be a fly on the wall and be able to listen to some of our awesome conversations. But yeah. So anyway, so I enjoyed it, and I do look forward to seeing you again in real life. But we'll get there when we get there, and yeah. And and Carolyn Miles, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you. So I'll see you guys all next week, and have a good one. Good luck.
Good night, everyone.
All right.